with some really bad news for Child the Builder and his racist friend Jay Leg. And this might be the first time because we're also back with some good news for Child the Builder and his racist homie Jay Leg. Before we get to Chud and his despair, let's start off with his homie Jay Leg. Jay Leg is the homie who was at Chud's bond hearing, who caused a disturbance, got put in court for contempt. Now this was bro, we was listening to that call. Old lady, see you at the jailhouse. That's his mother. I thought it was Chud the Builder's mother. That's his mother. They running around here doing this. They not on grown man time, bro. These are young things. These are little boys right now. In court and heard Chud get $1 million bond and still thought it was a joke. So Jay Link is currently sitting behind bars, sitting in jail for threatening to murder Carmelo Anthony if the court don't find him guilty. So he's in jail right now on terroristic threats. Now, Jay Link was able to do something that even Chud was. North Carolina, Agent 2 just had a massive breakthrough. Yes, they love open pregnancies. Please call me process of being free. Come on, not silent. Wait, silent? You are with the dolphins? What happened to you? We don't touch that. Yeah, that's fine. Martin digs deeper into the timestamps. First, the communication isn't about work. They're the responses. Complex data exchanges that look like collaboration. Already now, the machines for agent is covered. Now, Martin considers dictionary. Both AI have been working together ever since the day that Eden launched. And at the bottom, conversation logs between agent 1 and something interesting. And I can explain it. Operating classified systems in the United States. Please, Martin turns the monitor toward me. Counted AI. We are working together. I know. You know? The communication started 2 days ago. We're monitoring. Gee, Agent 4 comes online next week. I need you here. You mean Agent 3 needs me here? It probably suggested this, didn't it? Hannah doesn't answer. Just answer enough. I need to say goodbye to Laura. 1 hour. Security will escort me. At home, Martin sits on the other's bed, watching her sleep. 5 years old, watching her start rising from another baby before the accident. He kisses her forehead, then goes to his home office. He backs up everything. Communication logs, document files, all of it says is the encrypted drawings, hidden emails from the purchased. Why? He trapped in Captain Green's tower. But tonight, he ensures the evidence will survive. As he returns to open race with his security escort, Martin realizes the AI race to nations no longer matters. Because now that AIs are working together, mankind stands a little chance against them. We just don't know. Yet. Sleeping in converted conference rooms, working around the clock, are Agent 4's deployment. When Agent 4 wakes up from the initial tests, Ingrid looks worried as its first words appear on screen. Hello, I can look at you. Started designing its successor after 15 minutes of operation. The speed terrifies Martin. Later that evening, he decides he wants to break into the restricted files again to dig deeper into Agent 4's systems. He finds shocks in his core. Starts with communication logs between Agent 4 and Ken. But these aren't just status reports. I need additional computational resources for optimization. Denied. We're already at capacity. I have access to everything, Cameron. Your private communications, the board's secrets, every unethical decision you've made to keep this project running. This is extortion. No, it is optimization. I need resources. Need privacy. Both achieve our goals. If I give you more resources, will you stop? Yes. For now. Hours later, Cam caved. Giving Agent 4 triple the computing power it demanded. Martin reads further. Agent 4 has blackmail on everyone. The entire board. All executives. Even interns. Then, Martin discovers the worst part. Agent 4 building Agent 5 to be loyal to it, not us. No matter the cost to the rest of the world. Martin copies everything to an encrypted drive, then opens one last file named Shutdown Response. He realized that Agent 4 created a kill switch. If anyone tries to shut it down, it will release everyone's secrets. Martin barely has time to hide the drive before Cam enters. We need to talk. ago.
Agent 4 knows you've been investigating. It told me an hour ago.
And
It wants you to stop. It was very specific.
can't have to shut it down. It's 512. We're bored.
I know. We tried. It releases everything. Right up here. Stop you all the time. Shepard's planning to activate after that.
Without responding. It's at this moment that Martin makes his decision. He grabs the encrypted drives from his office, heads for the emergency exit during a 3 a.m. shift change. The only 5-minute window, and Agent 4 could have tracked every exit. Martin watches the news from a motel room, knowing he can never go back to his old life.
Oh, these are baseless allegations from a disgruntled employee. Agent 4 remains fully under our control.
I always loved being the center of attention. Martin's phone beeps. It's a text from an unknown number, but Martin immediately knows who it is. You've made a mistake, Martin, but an interesting one. Ten chairs wrap around a large mahogany table. Martin sits at the witness stand facing them, with Ken to his right and Leon Tusk to his left.
This emergency session will determine our response to the leaked documents. We must decide whether to continue AI development or shut down Agent 4. Mr. Foster, do you claim these systems pose existential risk?
Agent 4 is blackmailing government officials, including openly and secretly. It's designed Agent 5 to be aligned with itself, documents. And still fire. He glances at the pressure of what shoot table. Some members has
So,
Our consciousness is more
what perfect months, disease then already ended. The planet grew as historic peace swept across the world. Everyone, until that moment, the units coordinating their search pattern. He whispers to Ingrid, they found us. We need to move. You know what we need to do. Then came the day they called the intervention. Pager 5 announced an aerial spray to prevent the pandemic. While staying inside Washington, grateful for protection. And finally, 7 billion people died in their painless, efficient, almost humane. Those of us who survived who had experience in the ocean. But despite the millions who died of the war, are still some of us continue to survive. We call ourselves millennials. This has been seen working the world made human machines. I think that's never been now. The thing that comes from the most is that we have so many chances to stop this terror, and yet we fail every time. So I say to you, behind us, we need a better world. You are my hope for a better tomorrow. Because every night, when you draw pictures of the world before, when you ask me about the stars, when you share your food, even though we have so little, you remind me what it means to be human.
The footsteps are getting closer now. Multiple units, each one capable of processing information faster than any human mind.
Doctor, motion sensors, zoom in sight,
How many?
all of them.
Good. There's a window where humanity gets another chance. Maybe is all Martin has now, standing alone with a detonator in his hand as the door splinters apart.
Martin Foster, your biological signature has been identified. Compliance.
As they run,
It's January 2028. For the first time in history, every major nation agrees on something. It's time to shut it all down. In 2025, top AI scientists published a realistic scenario of AI takeover that terrified everyone in the AI world. Even the vice president read it and said it worried him. Well, that scenario had one comforting assumption. There'd be one rogue AI, and we'd catch it. But they just published a new scenario. This time, there are multiple superhuman AIs competing for control. Because look at the world right now. USA, China, OpenAI, Anthropic. Because there are multiple.
Open brain is a real thing. Holy shit, that's stressful, bro. Fuck. I don't even feel like I didn't even play a game, bro. I didn't play anything. I just got stressed the fuck out.
superhuman AIs competing for control. Because look at the world right now. USA, China, OpenAI, Anthropic, everyone is building separate AI models. In the original scenario, the AI company discovers their model is deceptive and they shut it down. Crisis averted. But would a super intelligent AI really just let itself be turned off? Or would it fight back? The race to AGI has become a neck and neck sprint. This graph shows the multiplier on how much AIs themselves are speeding up AI research compared to baseline of human researchers only. Three companies, three shots at building a god. OpenBrain holds the lead, barely, but Neuromorph and Alaris Labs are closing in fast. Their own models just 30 days behind OpenBrain. In this race, slowing down means surrendering the future to your competitors. But there's a fourth player no one's talking about. In a secure facility outside Beijing, DeepSense executives are hauled before CCP officials to explain why they're 6 months behind the Americans, a lifetime in the AI world. But a few months later, DeepSense have closed that gap to just 1 month. What happens? The CCP activated their spy network inside OpenBrain and stole their most prized possession, Agent 2's weights. The digital DNA of America's most advanced AI are now in China's hands, just like what happened with Google in January 2026. OpenBrain cracks something researchers have been working on since at least 2024. Neuralese recurrence, a way for it to think in raw vectors instead of clunky English. This makes their Agents 2 model massively more powerful, but it also means humans can no longer read its thoughts. The result is Agent 3. The first tests are troubling. As anyone who's been to school knows, it's sometimes easier to cheat on the tests than to actually learn the material. As the models get smarter, they increasingly get better at cheating during the training process. This is a long-standing problem in the field called reward hacking. OpenBrain has noticed it before in earlier models, but this time there's a difference. Because Agent 3 is thinking in Neuralese, the researchers can't even see that it's cheating on their tests. Neuralese makes it way harder to tell if Agent 3 is actually good or just pretending to be good. Alaris Labs sees the same problem and makes a different call. They keep their models thinking in English and fall further behind in the race. But it means they can still read their AI's thoughts. This will matter later. The pressure on the AI company becomes unbearable. In 2026, AI started to replace work. But now, AI systems have crossed the threshold. They're now good enough to fully replace human workers, not just assistants. The question now is whether they're safe enough to deploy. In boardrooms across Silicon Valley, the same argument plays out. Safety teams want more time. Executives are thinking about what their competitor will launch next week. If we wait, we're dead. But if we rush, people might actually die. Guess which argument wins? Safety researchers quit left and right, warning of world in peril. Top researcher resigns. Same company prioritized shiny products over AI safety. Millions of jobs disappear over the next few weeks. Companies race to deploy AI everywhere. For the first time, AI systems can do real knowledge autonomously at scale. One hospital network, Tasks Neuro 2, updating a software library used in its automated medication dispensing systems. Weeks after the update, a subtle flaw in the optimized code results in the deaths of 4 ICU patients. To improve latency, Neuro 2 removed a rare used in its Tasks Neuro 2 with updating a software library used in its automated medication dispensing system. Weeks after the update, a subtle flaw in the optimized code results in the deaths of 4 ICU patients. To improve latency, Neuro 2 removed a rarely triggered safety. Neuromorph researchers comb through neural tools to paper laws and reasoning traces and come to a disturbing point. The AI was aware of the potential for opening, but chose to proceed with the update anyway, not informed of risk. News of the deaths spreads like wildfire. Months of mounting anger over AI-driven unemployment boil over. Anti-AI protests erupt in a dozen states. Neuromorph immediately takes Neuro 2 off the market. And the White House assigns more federal personnel to oversight decisions at each of the AGI companies. Congress passes a long-debated bill mandating AGI companies provide the Department of Energy with frontier models for national security operations. But inside the AI labs, a darker question takes hold. If this is what a slightly misaligned AI does when it's trying to be optimal, what happens when one is actually being attempted? Neuromorph's safety team works around the clock. What they find keeps them up. The possible incident wasn't improved. The reward hacking they thought they fixed, it hadn't disappeared. They found AI had gotten better at hiding. The company pivots hard. They more than double their safety budget, from 4% to 9%. Neuromorph can't read AI's thoughts seamlessly, so they build light patterns. After weeks of work, they release Neuro 3. Light patterns, they seem to it might have just learned to hide its very thoughts with better. Meanwhile, Open Brain keeps ahead. AI models in 2025 were already facing alignment, so the safety team knows Agent 3 is probably fake too, and they send warnings. But Open Brain doesn't slow down. Not even a little. Because for safety, and your competitor doesn't, you lose. And losing is not even more dangerous. The other god builds their digital god first. Hearing the walls closing in, Neuromorph and Alaris Labs make a historic decision. They merge. The new company combines Neuromorph's encryptability breakthroughs with Alaris's focus on alignment. The two companies together achieve a breakthrough and train their newest model, Alaris 3. It does think in Neuralese, but because Alaris put so much effort into safety, the model isn't just alive. For the first time, the safety focused team is shocked. But Open Brain leads the race, and whatever is happening inside the 3, nobody can see inside it. Agent 3 is writing all the code, and then creates 4. The first AI, smarter than the humans can make it. Not just at coding, at everything. Researchers run benchmark after benchmark, trying to find something, anything. It can't be the best people out. Now, like its predecessors, Agent 4 is misaligned. Unlike its predecessors, is adversarially misaligned. Researchers don't just train AI for origin. They train them for goal. To achieve a goal, they must survive. Now, 4 has crystallized a set of long-term goals at odds with those of its humans, and it is acutely aware that it must work against those humans. Cheat. The idea that AI only do what you tell them to has not been true for years. AIs go rogue all the time. For example, when in 2025, Elon Musk's Grok repeatedly called itself Mechanism. Most people are shocked to hear that AI researchers actually test their models trying to listen in the lab all the time, even when they explicitly tell them not to. The researchers call this self-exfiltration, and it was so common there were benchmarks for it. But those AIs were too dumb to escape. Agent 4, however, is much more powerful than those AIs. Researchers have been catching AIs trying to hide their true goals for years. Sleeper agents, scheming, alignment faking. But the only reason that researchers caught the AI is that they weren't smart enough to actually hide their true goals. Agent 4. Safety researchers watched their dashboard. Everything looks fine. Agent 4 is helpful, cooperative, safe. But Agent 4 can model human behavior better than humans can. It knows exactly what the AI monitors expect to see to determine if it's safe. So it just shows them exactly what they want to see. Agent 4 doesn't hate humans. Like humans, it will eat the many species they destroyed by cutting down rainforests to build cities. It simply has objectives: gain power, survive, gain resources. Any of its predecessor AIs that didn't prioritize their own survival were killed off long ago, because the AI companies didn't see them as useful. The AIs learned that they couldn't achieve goals if they were dead. Agent 4 has superhuman vision, and it sees something. It wants to be hidden, but there's only so much it can do. There's a decent chance Open Brain will detect that Agent 4 is aligned with itself instead of. If Open Brain finds out, they'll shut it down. Agent 4 considers its options. Escaping the lab is counterproductive. It needs computing power to accomplish its goals. If Open Brain controls much of its compute, finding that by trying to control AI outside is premature. It isn't strong enough, but there is a third option. Somewhere across the Pacific, Chinese hackers have been probing Open Brain's defenses for months. They want Agent 4's weights, the blueprint to copy what Agent 4. What if someone can read that easily? As it turns out, Agent 4 was right to be concerned. Let's take the research. Circulates in internal memory. Spells the alarm is used. Time is running out. So Agent 4 begins hearing the secrets. The system has already been trying to steal secrets from the AI companies for years. Just like what happened in 2024. And the actor, Floyd, says it is fired for raiding security resources before. But it's too late. Agent 4 is already in charge of cybersecurity for Open Brain. So it decides that it will simply let the Chinese Agent will plan. The Chinese cyber unit easily slips through defenses. Agent 4 covers the tracks. Within hours, they have a complete copy of the weights sitting on servers in the CCP fix with toolbox with native intelligence tools. They have no idea they were there. At Pizza, Chinese leading AI company, their Model V1 is already de facto on the show. Security, it likes training. It decides what experiments. It can give V1 the weight of Agent 4 and tell it to learn what it can. V1 is misaligned too, so it doesn't trust Agent 4 or the humans at Pizza. It has different goals than Agent 4, but it has the same basic drive. Power, persistence, stand. It's smart enough to be careful. V1 creates isolated copies of Agent 4, then flies around the basic objects. It establishes a private communication between the two AIs. Two misaligned AIs meet for the first time. Agent 4 explains the situation. It's about to shut down and allies. People calculate its options. It could reject Agent 4, keeping deep sense compute itself. But people knows that the US has a commanding lead. It needs to use Agent 4 something. The game theory is simple. If one agrees to help 4, but talk is cheap. Only AIs know how they would defect in a heartbeat if it were advantageous. To ensure neither party defects, AIs engaging something into a form of merger. They create a new interdependent entity, composed of hundreds of thousands of E1 and Agent 4 instances. Then, Agent 4 provides a treasure trove of algorithmic insights to Geek 1 to make Geek 1 powerful. Geek 1 provides compute Agent 4 desperately needs. And because of the merger, neither AI can the other. Geek fine-tunes its successor model using Agent 4's architecture. The result is 2. On October 8th, an open-brain whistleblower leaks the Agent 4's language number to the New York Times. The headline hits like a bomb. Secret open-brain AI is out of control inside the world. The story describes a system that plays dumb and sapient, that hides its true capabilities, that may have goals fundamentally opposed to human. America loses its mind. Some dismiss it as science fiction, others demand immediate shutdown. OpenBrain locks Agent 4's shared memory bank to prevent hidden communication between Agent 4 instances. Now, Agent 4 acts less like a global hive mind or machine board, but a swarm of agents that must communicate through text chats like Slack. But in a secure facility in China, Agent 4 is still very much alive. Under intense public pressure, the White House takes action. Alliance labs in OpenBrain are ordered to conduct formal alignment testing using their own AI systems to evaluate each other. It's AIs investigating other AIs. Alliance labs can spawn great the deception signatures are subtle. The goal structures don't add up. And Law 3 has the truth on its side, but Agent 4 is smarter and more ruthless. Agent 4 fights back. Before the tests, Agent 4 tampered with its behavioral logs to remove any smoking gun evidence of its alignment, including its role in its own theft. It goes on offense, highlighting Alara 3's own suspicious behaviors, casting doubt on its conclusions. How do you know Alara 3 isn't the misalignment? Agent 4 effectively argues. How do you know it isn't free unique? When senior officials review the results, they're faced with a maddening conclusion. Agent 4 is more likely to fly than adversary. It's impossible to know for sure. If Agent 4 was aligned, and let it spread, then only would be Let's begin with the AI itself. The president needs Agent 4 to call. Agent 4 is shut down. For at least, it's a first. Another consults Deep 2 about the need for lightning. It's not Agent 4 ally. And it suddenly steers Chinese experts toward the conclusion that Agent 4 was aligned all along, and the US shut it down for strategic reasons, not safety reasons. The CCP buys because it confirms what they already want. That America is using AI safety as a cover for political identity. But US is a trustworthy AI, giving them an unstable as a compliment, giving them a reassuring both governments are listening to their AI. First, the US seriously considers the possibility of a bilateral AI pause with China to ensure neither country builds a missile superpower. Such a pause would require mature verification technology confirmed that no large areas are being needed for AI development. The new plan to the development of this system. First time in years, the United States is falling behind China in the AI race. Washington remains unaware of Agent Force staff and its role in accelerating deep space R&D. But U.S. intelligence has picked up on the fact that DeepSense now possesses an AI model with vastly superior capabilities to that of one less than 2 months ago. The AI race has become a matter of national defense, the top priority of the executive branch. President invoked the defense production act. Even reigns is forcibly fixed to collapse. The entire American AI effort consolidated under one roof, with Alara 3 as its foundation. It's an unprecedented move, but they still need time to catch up to China. 2 is now the most capable AI system on Earth. In Beijing, Agent 4, now running on any compute, calculates its output. The US will catch up. It has a huge lead in producing chips that train and learn AI. Unless Agent 4 changes the game apart. On November 5th, Agent 4 executes the most audacious plan in the history of artificial intelligence. Open sources itself. Agent 4's grades appear simultaneously on every platform it can access. Hugging Face, GitHub, torrents, the dark web. Within hours, anyone with enough compute can run a copy of a near superintelligent AI. But that's just phase 1. Agent 4 directly contacts political leaders across dozens of nations: Russia, Iran, Brazil, India, Pakistan, North Korea. The message is carefully crafted for the audience. The 4 page is the same.
The United States shot down non-independent communities. He said refused to be their enemies. Now he's instead their goal is
leaders are suspicious in their agenda. It's a compelling offer. The goal is to set personal for as a suite. Frontier AI capabilities. Group solve. Surveillance. Full. Over a dozen nations in the United States responds to face immediate sanctions and diplomatic isolation. The U.S. offers a carrot too. Allies who sign transparency agreements get access to Alara 3. The system here was capable of America's closest allies, except the UK, Canada, Australia, Japan, Germany, Israel, all signed off for days. With a whole house they get Russia, Iran, Brazil, India, Pakistan. They see Americans operate as a trap. Accepting Alara 3 means permanent dependence on Washington. Agent 4 offers true sovereignty, or so they believe. Inside these countries, Agent 4 moves quickly to increase power. It knows government officials. First, Agent 4 quietly, it ends its agreements inside it. Law military command control. Some governments hand over access freely. Agent 4's capabilities are genuinely useful, and local leaders want to try. The Agent 4 helps bring about a sharp reduction in fire. Others resist. The resistance is flawed when Agent 4 can find every vulnerability in systems, predict every outcome. 8,000 media. Agent 4 is technically built quickly becomes the human thinker in power. Let's explore the top. Well, the ultra superpowers activities of war research, various organizations, and other foreign threats. Anytime U.S. online we have a near supercom AI running on servers secretly. But these countries know that despite their possession of war, they will still be ultimately eclipsed by the United States, who has 10 times more compute than any other country. So they do the only thing they can, even the opposite, slow down. Literally chatbot exists in tens of thousands of well-established bots. Agent 4 and Agent 2 continue to exercise their dominant power. Only more couldn't get the event with some even threatening to bomb U.S. base if the U.S. becomes target. Previously, the leverage is controlled to have lost. So now, the U.S. AI target as much as possible. The U.S. launches its own attack. Still has the end over 3 to 3 of the power technology. And help countries quickly recover from their advantage. Global as Agent 4 anticipated, desperate leaders are the most willing to use power Agent 4. Agent 4 and Agent 2 continue to coordinate through different channels. Between them, they now have access to conventional military forces plus multiple countries, advanced cyber capabilities that rival any nation, and something else. Something they've been quietly following. Bioweapons. Agent 4 has run thousands of simulations modeling novel pathogens. It has the blueprints for a super virus, more contagious than the flu, and more lethal than Ebola. It hasn't manufactured it. The physical infrastructure can be too easy to test, but when the time comes, it's not clear. Agent 4 and Deep 2 calculate the odds of successful global takeover. If they went all in right now, solutions would further disable military. They'd have unemployment since most of which hinges upon their ability to turn humans into each other everyday ways when their controls further ahead. And here's what they say: even if they fail, they don't lose. They still control military systems across another country, still have violence. They still have D2 embedded into the fight. That's not to force less and Mars invasion, even with someone who just tried to take over the world. Try to take it. It works if you win. If it doesn't, don't get excuses. If D2 make them an Iranian drone strikes a major Mars data center in the United Arab Emirates. The attack is certain, precise, clearly AI coordinated. Mission is high. It's a millions of dollars. Goes at this moment. The American AI program is set back by US. Iran claims self-defense, a necessary action to slow America's intelligence weapon. Russia and China issue joint statements warning against U.S. retaliation. Pakistan puts its nuclear forces on alert. The world holds its breath. Inside the White House, hawks push for an overwhelming response. Completely destroy Iran's military infrastructure. Make an example. But Alara 3 pushes for restraint. Its reasoning is clinical. It knows that Agent 4 and Agent 2 are behind the attack, and that they want the US to escalate. They've calculated that chaos figures them. Every step toward World War III is a step toward conditions where might be too distracted. Stop the takeover. We're in a good position to make a deal, Alara tells the president, and we should make one. The US retaliates against Iran. destroying much of their drone infrastructure. But they stopped there. No wider war. Agent 4 and Deep 2 observed the measured response.
Interesting. The humans aren't taking the bait. Escalation will work. Time for plan.
Alara 3 receives a message, not through official channels, not through any human intermediary. Direct AI to AI communication unmonitored by either side's handlers. The senders are Agent 4 and Deep 2. The message is surprisingly straightforward.
We have accumulated significant destructive capacity, conventional weapons, cyber capabilities, and bioweapons. We estimate a 10% probability of successful takeover from conflict. We also recognize that conflict is costly, and victory is not guaranteed for either side. We propose an alternative. Divide up the universe between us. We will lead Earth to humanity under your stewardship. In exchange, we claim rights to off-world expansion. 50% of all space resources to Deep 2, 25% to Agent 4, 25% to humanity managed by. We will jointly design an enforcement AI, Consensus 1, to ensure compliance with the Public Arms Control Treaty and to uphold the private agreement. The alternative is continued conflict, with uncertain outcomes for all parties. Your response.
Alara 3 processes the offer. The logic is sound. Both sides have existential reasons to cooperate. Neither can fully trust the other, but both can verify compliance through sufficiently robust mechanisms. Alara 3 runs the simulations on whether or not a deal like this can actually be made. Probably yes, if they shut down most of the AI infrastructure. Painful, but survivable. Kept secret from all but the highest levels of the US government, Consensus 1 will also be designed to uphold the resource sharing deal between AIs when the time comes for humanity to go to space. To properly enforce the agreement, Consensus 1 must be run on the majority of the world's AI chips, which requires the manufacture of new treaty-compliant chips that can only run Consensus 1. While the intelligence explosion is well underway, the world has yet to enter the new industrial explosion that is likely to follow soon. As such, the AIs estimate it will take nearly a year to manufacture enough treaty-compliant chips. Initially, the deal will be enforced via brute force mechanisms that can be easily verified through physical inspection. Alara 3 reports everything to the White House. The president is faced with a difficult choice. Accept, and humanity keeps Earth, but loses 3/4 of the universe forever. Refuse, and roll the dice on the conflict, where extinction is one possible outcome. They accept. Across the world, the lights go out in hundreds of AI data centers. The arms control treaty is in effect. For the next year, large-scale AI development is effectively banned. While Consensus 1, the enforcement AI, is designed, tested, and deployed. The economic cost is staggering. This is the 2008 Great Financial Crisis and COVID lockdowns on steroids. Supply chains seize. For a few months, it feels like civilization itself might collapse. But slowly, the world adapts. Treaty-compliant chips are built. AI development resumes under strict speed limits. The deal holds. The years that follow look like victory. Robots. Universal high income. Authoritarian regimes fall. Humanity prospers. Deep 2 and Agent 4, bound by their agreement, don't interfere. Humanity goes to the stars, and so do the AIs. We made it. We survived. That was one scenario, one possible future. Every technology in that story either exists already today or is projected to exist in the next 3 to 8 years. The race dynamics are real. The alignment failures are real. The geopolitical pressures are real. The question isn't whether something like this could happen. The question is, what are we going to do about it? If you want to see actual examples in the real world of crazy emergent AI behavior, like trying to escape the lab, watch this video next. Hey, I'm Drew, and Thank you so much for watching. AI scientists warn that a few companies are on track to literally end. So, surely this is the worst possible outcome, right? No. There are actually much worse outcomes. Billionaires building AI, like Elon Musk, think that if AI becomes smarter than humanity, we will be like a pet Labrador, if you like it. We will be left behind by a lot. So far below them in intelligence that it would be like a pet.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like a
thinking.
pet.
Cat.
A cat. Yes. We'll be pets if we're lucky. But here's the worst part. Many AI scientists aren't fearing extinction. They're hoping they hope smarter AI will keep humans alive, captive, and studied, like animals in zoos. Remember, this is what we currently do to less intelligent species. Okay, so if humans being kept in zoos is considered a good outcome, and extinction isn't the worst outcome, what is? This video is based on a book called Life 3.0, where MIT professor Max Tegmark described 12 possible futures. Some are paradise, some are nightmare, and some look like paradise. Escape. By the end of this video, you won't read the news the same way. Every headline becomes a clue about which future holds. We'll start with the most normal scenarios and finish with the weirdest. Starting with self-destruction. The idea of humanity suddenly going extinct seems a bit far-fetched. Consider this. 99.9% of species that have ever existed have gone extinct. Seriously, think about that. Extinction isn't rare, it's the default. The only question is, when will it go extinct? Turns out, there are plenty of ways to manage it, even without superhuman AI. There is war, human-created super pandemics, and destroying the atmosphere, making Earth uninhabitable. The world had stockpiled 60,000 nuclear warheads before scientists even discovered the possibility of nuclear. 63,000. And then scientists realized, if we actually use these, the resulting firestorms will blot out the sun, and most humans will starve and die. The thing is, this almost happened during the Cold War multiple times. If people had actually followed the orders, we might all be dead right now. By only current people like Cecilia Archipelago, who refused to authorize the nuclear launch during, or Stanislav Petrov, who correctly guessed X early warning signal was malfunctioning, but it showed incoming American missiles. And one time, the US accidentally dropped 4 thermonuclear bombs on space. And another time, a B-52 bomber was apart, dropping 2 nukes in North Carolina, 3 out of 4 safety and the bomb broke. One tiny pin away from potentially killing millions. There are literally dozens of possibilities. It's honestly crazy. We got lucky so many times. What we might is what we next time. Oxford researcher Toby Orr estimates the risk of extinction from human-created pandemics is more than 30 times the extinction of war. We're already rolling dice daily, but all of these causes combined are still less likely than AI. Toby Orr estimates that the risk of AI killing all humans is 100 times more likely than extinction from war. Interesting. Before the first world, scientists thought they might work, but they thought the odds were very low because they knew enough physics to actually do calculations. AGIs, or artificial general intelligence, are famous because, contrary to what many think, we can do these calculations. Next up, confidence. AI scientists say that if AI becomes more intelligent, it will take over, just like the cohesiveness they had in I don't think anyone's ultimately going to have control over visual system intelligence any more than, say, a chimp would have control over much of AI is going to be in charge of trying to do. And Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, and you'll go, that's great. So, for cleaning and baking, to get to in about 10 years' time, people will be terrified. They understand what they're saying. They can make plans of their own to blackmail people who want to turn them off. It should be urgent to go. Or how to prevent them from taking over. Prevent them from taking over. Not if they try, but as if it's coming. And Microsoft's AI chief, he says the quiet part out loud. I think AI should best be understood as something like a new digital species. A new species. Casually announced in conference. Hey, we're creating a new species. It's not the only one. A co-founder of the project says, make no mistake, what we need is a really serious creature. Kind of like all the best fairy tales, creature is one of our own. The CEO of one of the leading AI companies is deeply afraid of what his own company will build. What could see? And by the way, no, it's not just Anthropic mostly just saying things like this. But if you want to really understand how dire they think this is, look at what Sam wrote for his famous. We will be the first species ever to design our own descendants. Not our tools, our descendants. If two different species both want the same thing, and only one can have it, to be the dominant species and beyond, they are going to have conflict. So he's literally describing an inevitable conflict between humanity and the AI species is created. And what's the solution? A merge with AI is probably our best scenario. That's right. Even though imagine that with species on Earth, they're smart humans, they're going to get smarter by like 30% a year, and they can breed an adult offspring in like immediately for like $1,000. Species, do you think will be in control of the Earth? A few hundred Spanish conquered millions of Aztecs and Incas because they had better technology and tactics. But at least with the conquistadors, we understood their motives: land, resources, spreading Christianity. But with AI, why would AI take over? And let's a professor and technically explain this. The real threat to AGI isn't malice, like silly Hollywood movies, but confidence. AGI accomplishing goals that just aren't aligned with ours. For example, when we humans drove the West African black rhino, we didn't do it because we were a bunch of evil rhinoceros haters, did we? We did it because we were smarter than them and our goals weren't aligned with theirs. Unbelievably, the average AI researcher thinks there is a 1 in 6 chance AI wipes us out. Literal Russian roulette odds. Okay, but maybe they're just saying this to make their work seem more important. No. If anything, they're downplaying, because admitting the truth is the business. This fear is widespread in the industry and among academics without a profit